Oh, you too, guys. I'll tell you, to start off, it's really an honor to speak to both of you. I mean, we've been fans for a long time, so yeah. He tells me I got Rough Cut on the line, and that's awesome. That's cool to hear, man.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to be here, man.
That's really cool. Well, first thing I want to say, guys, is when we start out, I know we know a lot about the bands, because we've loved the music for so long, and we continue to support you guys, and no matter what you do, we're always going to be, loyal followers. But for the fans that are first listening in, say their first time they're hearing Rough Cut or learning about the guys, new fans. How did you guys get started with the band? I know it was early '80s, and how'd that all come about?
Well, to kind of make it brief, Chris, we can make it really brief that we kind of just we were in two different bands.
Yeah.
And they had lost Chris's band. Sarge had lost their singer, and he got a separate deal. And some of the guys in the band that we had at the time before we came up with the name Rough Cut was a band called Magic with Chris, with Claude Snell and Chris and Joe Finelli, and everybody kind of went different directions. And Sarge and what became of Rough Cut, which was just me and Dave after Jake left and Claude and Joey Cristofanelli, we kind of merged and found each other. Actually, that's what Rough Cut really was, and then Amir got in just in a great time because we had Craig Goldie for a while, and we're working. We went in the studio with Ronnie and did some stuff. And, the next thing you know, it was Chris and Matt were writing so much of the material for the first real Rough Cut record. I mean, we did some earlier stuff like Try a Little Harder and stuff that was...
we did some stuff with Ronnie. Ronnie produced a couple songs with us, which was amazing. That was totally cool. Also, I wanted to add that Matt Thorne was in the band with me, so it was kind of a package deal. We both teamed up together. Me, Paul, David, and Matt, and then Craig Goldie was in the band at the time, and that was the genesis of the whole thing.
That's really where Rough Cut began. The rest of it, the people before it were just kind of like,
Yeah, it was musical chairs, man. Every band. Shit on.
And in the music industry, sometimes you just really have to be loyal to what your feelings are and what you true are. And actually, the lineup that we ended up being Rough Cut was a great bunch of very strong, creative guys, strong head and creative guys. And we're working on new stuff now that's just amazing. I mean, we've really been focusing on songs, whereas I think in the early days we had so many ideas that we were trying to combine them that we believed that we needed an outside source of a certain caliber of producer. And back in that time, I think it was that, and Chris probably quote me on this, that certain producers were just known for whatever they put out. The label backed them, and they had the support of the label. Right. And we got signed by Teddy and Teddy Templeman for Warner Brothers, but we couldn't. So we waited a year before we found the right producer.
He was busy with Van Halen and David Lee Roth, and he wanted to do us. So we wound up waiting almost a year for him, and he couldn't do it. So we kind of lost a little bit of time there. But we wound up with another great producer. But it's one of those things where you never know what it would have been. But it just happened.
Right. Timing's everything. So I think us, the Door, kind of. We were actually, I think we were one of the first bands out of the whole LA scene that were signed. Motley and I think Rat had EPs out already.
Rat, I think Quiet Riot.
Right.
Signed.
Yeah. And they were like, and actually, Quiet Riot, the first initial batch of guys of those were with Randy, and then Kevin with Frankie, I think, had started to Bro, and then they reformed Quiet Riot. I think that's how that whole thing went. But Kevin used to come to Rough Cut shows at the Troop, and
Right.
we were all good friends with everybody. Yeah, it was really cool.
It was serious musical chairs, man. I mean, a lot of us, there's a lot of history here with, the guys in Rat, and a lot of us played with each other. I mean, it was just that way in LA,
Right.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, half the band, half the Rough Cut was in Mickey Rat or Rat at one point.
Yeah, absolutely. We sure were. Yeah.
And everybody was from San Diego except for Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, right. You two were the only guys.
There was a lot of people from San Diego. It was amazing how many people.
Greg and Joe were from San Diego.
Right. And Jake. Warren, isn't Warren DeMartini from San Diego too?
Absolutely.
I think he is. Yeah.
Robin Crosby, Steve Crosby. I could keep going on, man.
There was a lot of talent that came out of San Diego that people don't know that really came out of San Diego and came to the LA scene, and because it was all happening on Sunset. It was an amazing time at that time. It really was.
It really was. Yeah.
And I know.
It'd be great to go back there. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no. I was going to say. I mean, I know from our side, looking at that. I mean, to me, that's probably, in my eyes anyway, the best music that I think's ever come out. I mean, the talent that came out of that scene. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you can't even say that.
There was like a couple waves out of that Western culture that, the late 60s, early 70s, Hendrix, and that whole San Francisco movement.
Right.
That, you had Crosby, Buffalo, Springfield, all that stuff that music was evolving. But I watched this thing on the Whiskey. And what the Whiskey did back when the Doors were playing there, and say Hendrix and everybody that was doing that scene like we were doing in the '80s there,
right.
They would actually give free admission to kids from the college like UCLA, so they would line them up
right
out front. And it would look like the place was sold out. And they would actually let them in free. And
do it on me.
It's really interesting, this whole thing on the Whiskey. It was just the whole history of how, all of the amazing bands that have won through there. It's just, when you think about it, Chris, it's kind of an honor that we were able to play there quite a few times that we did with all of the rock royalty that it had played.
Oh yeah, it's a historic place. I don't think there's any other venue like it in the world, really.
And even the Troubadour, huh, Chris? There's another one.
Oh God, I mean the Troubadour was another one of those places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac was born there, I think.
Right.
Elton John. I mean, it's just really amazing. That's one of the places John Lennon got thrown out
of. That's right.
Yeah, these places are all within a mile of each other.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And back then, there was another place that we used to play, everybody played, I think it was called Madame Wong's.
Madame Wong. That's
East and West.
That's where I first saw you play, Paul. Madame Wong's East.
The better one was on the west side, wasn't it? On the Wilshire?
Yeah, there was two of them, right? But then there was another place called Gazzari's which was right from the whiskey, and then that turned into the Key Club, and then something else. I don't know what the hell it is now, but you know, that was everybody played there, Van Halen, you know, and then of course the Roxy, and yeah, it just
some of the early Rough Cut days, we were rehearsing at the Starwood when it was closed.
Yeah, you told me
that's
about
cool.
it.
Yeah.
You got to play the
Just as we were forming Rough Cut before it fell apart and we merged with Chris and Matt Thorne. We had a few rehearsals at the Starwood for $10 an hour.
That's amazing.
They were
$10.
That whole Wonderland thing, you know, with John Holmes and. But I had seen Van Halen there and a band called Sorcery, and that whole Sunset thing was just amazing. I mean, I really didn't start going down there until actually when I met Chris and Dave. For years, I didn't do the Sunset scene. I was, you know, out of that whole clique. It was really good. I was playing in bars,
right?
I was playing in, like, you know, at the beach and clubs and stuff, and you know, and my folks had built a few different studios, so I was into that kind of stuff. But in reality, I really didn't. That Hollywood scene was real new to me when I got to meet Chris and the guys, you know.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Great times.
You know, I moved up to LA with Steven in early January of '80, and man, things were, I think, like we were the first guys to you know, I mean, we lived in a garage, man. We packed everything, we got into a little truck, and we had the drummer, and we you know, we needed lady, and she had a garage, and was kind of put stuff into a room, and man, that was the genesis of a lot of stuff right there, you know.
And that's
those days. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that's major dedication right there. I mean, that's some passion for the music. That's for sure.
Hey, man, that's all we had going on. That's all we cared about, and you know, back then life was simpler, you know.
Exactly.
And we were younger.
Yeah, we were younger. That's for damn sure.
And you think you're invincible until you get older, and then you start
That's right.
feeling all the things that you should have thought about if you were going to get this old.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people out of the 60s and 70s were dying off at 27. So, you know, we were in a hurry to get everywhere.
Right.
To get a record deal, and hurry to get a gig, and hurry to, like, you know, live off of Taco Bell 9-cent burritos.
That's it. Yeah. Which you can afford.
Yeah.
Oh man, you know, we lived off of, you know, the top ramen, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches if we were lucky, you know.
Right.
You know, we were sometimes lucky enough to have girls that would bring us over real food, you know what I mean?
And strippers, you know. You go to a local strip place and kind of hang out and hope that they would want to take you and take care of you. You know. There's a rock guy. He looks cool, you know. That's before, you know. Yeah, they would take you under their wing, and they would take care of you. Now
thank God.
now they want to reach in your pocket and see how deep it is.
Well,
Yeah, that's it.
God bless you, man.
Boy, that has changed a lot. That's crazy, huh?
I'll tell you, big time. Here in Vegas, you know, the chick's looking at you in the casino, you know, or if she's looking at you, she thinks you've got money.
Right.
Otherwise, she's looking somewhere else. Yeah.
Exactly. She come over and she don't buy her a drink, she's on her way.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, there's a song in there somewhere, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know,
Right?
people start drinking and partying here in Vegas till
That's it.
they get here. It's amazing.
Hey, when you guys talk about the early days like that, you know, and I think about that first album, you know, the self-titled. It was, I'll tell you what, I listen to that regularly, and you know, I think about like Dreaming Again. that song right there. I mean, I've been listening to that since '85, 86, and that song, man, that just it stands the test of time. I mean, it's just still. I mean, it kicks ass. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, all a lot to do with writing that song, and the thing about a good song is it really does stand the test of time, doesn't
right.
it?
Yeah, and that song really, and the production that Tom Allen put into it.
Yeah.
When you listen to that on headphones, I mean that whole. There's other things that I wish we would have did, like the Kids Would Rock, the Kids Will Rock. I wish we would have made that a little bit more. Not so cammy or well, just was it bringing the kids in? It was a neat idea, but I think it would have been better if we just sang it and then didn't do the laughing thing. I listened to some of the things that we did back then, and you learn from your mistakes. But there were some really good songs on there, and
right.
That was like it was a cold and windy morning, and it was a really good thing, and then it got really kind of went off gear somewhere.
They weren't all 100% winners, but speaking about the producer a little bit, Tom Allen is the one that produced it. He was the guy that did all the Judas Priest records, and
he also did one or two records with Def Leppard.
He did the first Def Leppard record, and he engineered the very first Black Sabbath record.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. You're right.
Didn't he do Screaming in the Night by Crocus, that album?
He did.
I think so.
I think he did, too. That's it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, before he did us, he did Y&T in Rock We Trust.
He did do that. He did do that. That's a fantastic album, too.
Yeah, he did that before he did us, yeah. So we were like, Tom was... He was amazing. And if you listen, like Paul said, if you listen to something like Black Widow, listen to it on a good system or listen to it at headphones, it's just, there's some scary shit going on in that niche,
Right.
There is. There is that and Dreaming Again and You Break in My Heart. They were really production numbers. A little bit more than some of the other tracks.
Yeah.
We did a version with Ronnie on Taker. It was the same. Pretty much the same, that song.
That's pretty much the same.
Yeah. I think, I just found out recently, and I think I shared it with Chris and the guys, that there's Angelo Acuria, who did Ronnie's first albums and did some of our demos.
Right.
He wanted to produce us, but Wendy had thought it would have been better for Templeman too at the time. Although I think it might have been, timing-wise, it would have been really good timing-wise for Ronnie and them to produce us. They were really disappointed from what Angelo told me, that they didn't get a chance to produce us. And our album would have come out sooner, and it might have been a little rawer,
Right. Different, and it's one of those things where it's, you just don't know. You can, you can sort of guess, but it would have been different, that's for sure. But I'll tell you one cool thing, one little anecdote here real quick, is that we got to get in on the last bit of the Holy Diver sessions. Remember that, Paul?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
We were still mixing, man. And they invited us down to the studio, and, we got to listen to all the songs. They weren't even all mixed yet. And, we were just blown away, or we were, and it was such an amazing record.
Right.
And then what happened was they started, taking their gear down, and they brought us in, and while they still had the session time, and that's when we did the demo with Ronnie and Angelo.
Yeah, we did Try a Little Harder.
And Queen of Seduction, and that was,
Queen of Seduction.
Right.
And we did Taker, I think. We retracked Taker. That's what we did, Taker, didn't we?
Yeah. So, we were lucky guys, man. We were like, we were just kids, we were just like blown away.
Yeah, to be able
I think we did some. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, to be able to come in with, with Ronnie like that, and to see some of the guys that you had the chance to, to work with or even see. I mean, that just really had to give you guys a boost on say, hey, man, we could really, kick some ass with these guys.
And, we were doing some dates with Ronnie down in San Diego, which was a trip.
Well, then we went on tour with him for like almost a year. I mean,
yeah, before he released his album, remember, Chris? We did,
it was the Sacred Heart record, yeah.
Yeah.
And
we were out there for that, yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. It was an amazing tour.
We were lucky guys. We did all that stuff.
What I liked about you guys too is what I liked is like the raw sound. When I think of the first record, and it was raw, but it was heavy too, and it also had the so many different elements. It wasn't just like it was straightforward. You had the you had the heavier songs and a lot of melody too, and that's what I think that's what stands out the most to me on that first record.
Well, it was melodic hard rock for the most part, yeah. Yeah, that's what we were into as well, And
then when we got out on the road with Accept and Crocus, then we realized that we needed to write some songs that were faster. After we were doing stuff with Ron, we went out first with Crocus and Accept, remember? Before we went out with Sacred Heart too. Right after we did the record. Well, actually we played the Forum right after we finished the Rough Cut first album. What was one of our first gigs?
That was at Ronnie. Yeah, that was an experience.
And then we, decided to speed up the material when we did the second album, and then after that, it was with Jack Douglas, which was another amazing guy, a producer who did Aerosmith. We were very fortunate with people that wanted to work with us.
Well, we sure were, man. Yeah, we haven't even talked about Jack Douglas yet, man.
No. And then we got to do that Stars.
Right.
Absolutely. With everybody, here's these young guys, I think that was in between our records, wasn't it, Chris?
I believe it was.
I think it was believed that it was between the records, because here we were, we just had released a record, and we did some dates, and then they started this thing with the Stars thing, and we were in this room with all these rock guys.
It was. You're talking about for sure.
Well, we
reunited thing.
Actually,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the hearing aid. Yeah.
Chris
and Amir were going to play on that, and the Maiden guys.
We got predicted by the Maiden guys. Right.
Yeah, well, we all got to sing on it. Everybody got to sing on the chorus, and I was very fortunate to be even able to sing at all with it, and I was like in awe. I didn't even make the picture. I got Jimmy Bain got me drunk, and I didn't. If you look on that album cover, the only picture of me is on the back. In the front, with all the people in the picture, I'm not in that picture.
Oh man.
Jimmy Bain, man, God bless his soul.
And he was in the picture. I got sick and was in the bathroom, so I didn't get. They took the photo, and I wasn't in the frickin' photo.
You just couldn't hold it.
No, I was a wimp. When it comes to drinking, I'm still a wimp. But however, it was. We had some amazing times. I mean, it's what's really interesting now is the history that we've shared and stuff like that. Is what we're doing now is it's kind of it's a double-edged sword with the way things are now. You have the ability to go in and really fine-tune something by having a studio in your house, opposed to having to go into the pre-production and everybody's just laying ideas and you're recording it on a ghetto blaster,
right?
And then you take it home and you can't cut things up,
right?
And you try to piece shit together, and then you go back to rehearsal. But now you can really hone into parts, sections, melodies, before you even record it for real. Yeah, and it's been a great experience working with Chris and Matt and David and Amir again in a much different atmosphere. Even though we're in different states,
Right.
we can email each other ideas and get them back and critique and get it to a point and even rewrite lyrics, melodies, and certain things that stand out. And it's really been a great journey that we've been experiencing probably since we've done the Monsters of Rock cruise last year. We've really just grown. Because we haven't been together in about 30 years, so to get back together and
Right.
play was just one achievement. To be able to even sing like that anymore, and the guys play that stuff anymore, it's a whole reprogramming and kind of relearning how I did sing that stuff, and probably for Chris and Amir and the guys, it's probably same way. I gotta get my fingers to play that way again and stuff.
Right. Right. What's it like?
So it's been go ahead. I was just going to finish that out. But
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
We've just really concentrated on writing good songs. And we don't have good songs. I really believe we have some great songs. So when we actually get in to record these, because we're still just collectively writing, and we've got some. Chris has got his own studio at his house, and he's just been upgrading, and he'll send me something every 2 or 3 days or something, and it's like, wow, let me catch up. I just keep writing lyrics and hopeful that I'm in this whole law of attraction stuff, and sometimes I get too preaching there, where I'm coming from. So they got to pull me up. Hey man, we know where you're coming from, but we need to make it a little, make the lyrics a little more clever instead of being so direct. So it's been really great to work collectively with the guys like that, because we didn't experience that before. They went in and did their stuff. We wrote stuff together, like I said, off of
Right.
and once you got a 4-track, that was up, but first it was just a blaster or something,
Right.
that we would record stuff on and go home and then go, okay, and then I think somebody got a hold of a 4-track, and it made it a little easier to write, but still, they just tossed us in there. When we went in to record both albums, we were just thrown in there. We had a certain amount of time to do things, and
Right.
Like I said, now it's different when everybody has the capability of having a studio or just being able to record ideas. It's a great time in our lives.
Hey guys, as musicians, when you're talking about the new writing and everything, and how things are now, what do you feel is the better? What do you think for you is better as a songwriter, as a songwriting team? Was it better back then, or is it better now? Do you feel like you're actually reaching more of yourself as an artist by doing it this way? Is that a better way to write for you?
Want me to take this one, Paul?
You can take it, absolutely.
That's a good question.
I actually, unfortunately, I have to leave. Could Chris finish this?
You gotta go work, right, brother?
Yeah, I have to leave, unfortunately.
No problem,
I
Paul.
forgot about an event that I am supposed to be at, so I have to be there by 6, and so I'm going to make it there. Fine, but I just need to sign off to everyone, and I'll just say this is Paul Shortino from Rough Cutt, and it's been a slice of heaven, and my brother and real co-writer, because we've been spending a lot of writing together, Mr. Chris Hager, and he's going to share with you all of the good things that we've been doing. And it's been a slice of heaven.
Awesome.
Cool, brother.
And I will try to catch up. Please, if you want to do another one with me and Chris, I'm all up for it, and I'm sure he is. If there's some things that we didn't touch that you would like to even ask us both more, I'm sure Chris will get you caught up with all the Jack Douglas, and we had some great stories. So I hope I've been able to help out and give my feelings about what's going on, because I'm really excited about what Rough Cutt's doing collectively together. It's just Chris will tell you about the writing, because I think it's the best. It's the best way I've ever experienced. It's probably tougher for a drummer, but for us guys, it's just we can really hone in,
Right.
and hone in on what we're doing, whatever it is. Anyways, I'm gonna say peace out. I don't know if I disconnect, am I gonna lose? Are you gonna lose each other, or?
No,
I think you'll be all right, bro.
I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine.
Okay, God bless you guys. Peace.
All right,
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you a little later tonight, Chris, after I talk to Corey.
Okay, sounds good, brother.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Guys?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah. So, we were just talking about you were asked, the question you asked was the differences in writing now as compared to what they were last time. Basically, was that where you were going back in the day, or
Well,
did I get that right?
what I was wondering is being an artist today and the way you write today, is this a better way for you as an artist to write? Do you feel like you get more out of yourself now, or did you feel like you got more out of yourself back then?
Well, let me start off by saying this. First of all, technology is a double-edged sword. Okay.
Right.
There's when it comes to actual writing, the tools we have today are so far superior to what we had back then that it's not even funny.
Right.
So the other side of it is, of course, the music industry itself, which has become pretty much unrecognizable.
Right.
It's nothing like it was back in the day, and as I'm sure with a lot of the other guys you've interviewed, they've told you that for artists to make money off of actual music these days is intensely difficult.
Right.
The upside to that is that you've got programs like Pro Tools and Logic, and you've got high-speed internet connections that allow you, with relatively inexpensive equipment and a computer, to sit down and actually write a song. You got a guitar, a bass, and some software drums. You can get an idea down and email it to your guys and say, hey guys, what do you think of this idea? And I mean, that's so far beyond what we could even do, 10, 15 years ago is when that stuff started. These days we can actually share sessions, so I can start a session and send it over and have Paul work on vocals, and Matt put a bass line in, and Amir work on a second guitar part. And that the only thing you really can't do is in your own house, unless you've got a very big house and you're and some guys do, right?
Right.
So typically you got to go into a studio if you're going to do real drums. But as far as getting the idea down, I would say that it's much more conducive to being creative.
Right.
And that part is the benign part of technology, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. Because basically, in the past, I mean, I remember, back in the day, Matt and I sitting in a little bedroom, and we were so broke, man. We were eating top ramen, and we were putting the heads of our guitars on dressers so they would resonate so that we could hear them.
Right.
And writing songs like that. And, we could kind of tell when we had a good, riff or something, but we didn't really know what it was going to sound like.
Right.
And even when you got in the studio, even when you got into a recording studio, not a recording studio, but a rehearsal studio, it was really loud, and you bring a ghetto blaster in there, and you
right.
get a good idea, but even then, it was still kind of hard to hear. So it wasn't really until you went into the recording studio where you really knew what you had. And that's what's changed, and that's been the big paradigm change right there.
Yeah, and that has to be so much better for you, like you explain it like that as an artist. I mean, to be able to come in with all your ideas and not have to have that that pressure of, hey, how is this going to sound? Is it going to sound like shit on this side? Is it,
Yeah. Yeah, if it sounds like shit, you just do something else and don't send it to anybody.
Right. That's it.
Nobody's ever going to hear that.
Yeah, hey, that's good. I mean, that's really good. Get in there and throw it down and say, hey, man, if this doesn't work, forget it.
Yeah, and you can do, you've got unlimited tracks. You can double track. You can do harmonies. You really can, the drums sound great. You can really get a very, very close idea of what the song is going to sound like. And that's a very cool thing. That's a very cool thing. Now, again, the downside is obviously that nobody wants to buy music anymore.
It's sad too. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, and all the guys that we talk to, I mean, it's an art form. I mean, it should be appreciated. It's something that I mean, it does so much for your heart, your soul, your the way you look at things. I mean, it has the ability to change moods, to make
That's
things
right.
better. I mean, really, and it's a shame that people do not respect it for what it is anymore.
Music is about an emotional connection, period.
Right. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that used to be, and well, it still is in a way. I mean, people will still pay big money to go see artists, their favorite artists at a venue.
Right.
And they'll spend money on merch and things like that. But, I mean, especially the young kids these days that pretty much expect music to be free or almost free,
Right.
And then with the advent of streaming, I think streaming in the last 5 years or so is what's really killed it for artists. I mean, downloads are one thing, but streaming where you're getting literally, a hundredth or even a thousandth of a cent. I think it's a thousandth of a cent per stream.
Right.
You're just not going to make anything off of that. So that means that you have to, go out and play and so there's still ways to make money. You go out and play, you have merchandise, you do, there's other things you can do. But I don't know that it will ever be the same as it was, 20 and 30 years ago. And that's unfortunate for the artist because,
Right.
obviously we have to make a living too. So.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, one thing.
So that's what computers and high-speed internet connections have done for us.
Right.
Well, and mobile devices, right?
That's it. What's great though. I mean, to talk to somebody like yourself. I mean, that actually goes in and writes his music and goes in and plays an instrument. It seems like just so much. That's what's out there now is just, it's not even music anymore. It's just so watered down. It's a figment of itself. I mean, it's really not music. I mean, when you program things and you don't even sing the vocals, and that's why guys that we still appreciate. I appreciate a guy that plays a guitar. I appreciate a guy, and the work and the dedication that it takes to make that music for us. I mean, really.
Yeah, and a lot of people do. I think with the advent of the EDM sort of phenomenon, I think there's been a sort of a backlash to that. It's still popular, and it's still a lot of people still listen to it and so on. Some of it's okay, but a lot of it is crap. And and you're right, it doesn't really take a lot of musicianship to be able to do it.
Right.
A lot of it's just about a beat, really. And the thing about it is I think I've thought about this, before, and I think a beat is one of the things that we respond to as human beings. And I think that, because it physiologically and psychologically has an impact on our brain. So when you hear a good beat, whether it's a rock beat or whether it's a dance beat or whatever it is, it does something to you, physiologically.
Right.
And I think with EDM, they sort of, took that to the nth degree and sort of stripped the musicality out of it.
Right, right.
And that's, so that's why I think classic rock, and believe me, I mean, the stuff we did in the 80s, that's classic rock now. I mean, even 90s is classic rock.
That's amazing, I know.
It really is. And then you got around the 2000, and that's when things started changing, and even then there was some good stuff. And I got to tell you, a lot of people will say, "Oh man, there's nothing good. There's no good music out there anymore. Everything sucks." I don't buy that. I don't go along with that. In fact, a lot of the new rock bands, the new core metal bands and stuff, I think are really, there's some really great artists out there.
Agreed.
And I listen to a lot of that stuff, and I think it's. I think some of it is every bit as good as what we were doing back in the 80s. But it's the real deal. It's guitar players and singers and drummers and bass players, and then you've got more modernized production, obviously. But
right.
So there's still good music out there, but it's just changed a little bit. Yeah.
Did you ever think, looking back and say the new Rough Cutt, say the first Rough Cutt album came out nowadays? I mean, with the way, say with modern technology, the way it is nowadays, just imagine what that album would have sounded like if you guys would have had that kind of equipment now to really bring it out.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to imagine, actually.
Yes.
It would have been a little different for sure, but I mean, you can listen to some of the current rock stuff that's out there with the younger rock bands that are out there right now,
right?
And it's not really that much different. The big difference is that the guitars are tuned down, right. And you've got, some of the sounds are a little bigger. The drum sounds are bigger because, the bottom end is more prevalent because all that's improved somewhat since back in the 80s. And some of it's got a lot of production that we couldn't do back then, but some of it's fairly, raw. So it's kind of hard to say. It's an interesting question,
Right. I when I listen to the new stuff, I do agree with you on that too. There's a lot of really good bands out there that people just aren't even. It's like they don't even get to even notice them because it's just the word's not being spread. They're not being promoted properly. That's really a shame.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of favorites, stuff that I still listen to 80s stuff, but it's not the number one thing that I listen to anymore. I've got a very diverse taste in music myself.
Right.
But I'm listening to a lot of the new stuff that comes out. Most of it rock, but and I'm listening to that and going, shit, that's some powerful shit there, man. You know?
Right. So it's still out there, and it's still strong. But not in the U.S. anymore. It's not as powerful. I mean, it's a lot more over in Europe. It seems like it's still going strong.
That's true to an extent. The U.S. is God, it's sort of like more of a nostalgia scene.
Right. It is.
I mean, let's face it, man. I mean, we're like, we're guys in our middle ages now,
Right.
And I've been fortunate enough to go out and do that circuit in the past few years and see what it's like. And, we're out there playing, and mostly the crowds are about the same age as I am,
Right.
But they still love it. They're still great and everything. But, it's kind of funny. I think you're right about Europe, though. There's, it's sort of a younger, newer phenomenon over there in certain respects.
Right.
Canada the same way. A lot of things have changed. By the way, we're working on getting back to Japan here in the next year or so.
Nice.
We were out there a couple months in the '80s, and we're hoping to do some stuff in Europe and probably South America too. So
Right.
That
is
so
great.
We're excited about those prospects.
What's the fans' reaction? When they get to see you guys. I know it's been a while, and to get back out there and play again like that with the lineup, with the original lineup, and what's that like for you, man? That's to be great.
Good point about the original lineup, because there are very few bands from the '80s who have the original lineup.
Right.
There's like a handful, and so that's one advantage with Rough Cut, that you get to see the guys that recorded the records.
Right.
The other thing is that we didn't play for so long that it's people that either never saw us or maybe saw us once or twice and have loved those records for 30 years, are like, wow, I can't believe these guys, I'm actually going to get to see these guys again. And so I think it's kind of a treat for Rough Cut fans that it's sort of the original guys, and also the fact that we haven't played in 30 years, essentially,
Right.
So yeah.
So what's you guys are starting to write new material, and what made you decide to do that? I mean, I think that's great that that a lot of the bands are coming back and putting out new material. I mean, is it something that you looked at? I know some of the artists we talk to, they say they write music for themselves. I mean, they write what they feel, and if people like it, they do. And if they don't, then that's fine too. Is that what you guys looked at? Or just say, hey, we feel like writing together and putting something up?
I'd always rather they liked it myself.
Right. Exactly.
Heard a lot of people say that. I write it for myself, and if people like it, I'm
right.
more the kind of guy that I'd rather people liked it.
I agree.
But I'd say two things about that. Number one, sort of what the genesis of this whole reunion was, that the Monsters cruise last year, and when we were asked to play that, that's really what got us back together. We were given a good offer, and that got us back together. And we said, well, hey, why not do a few more shows and see see if there's some interest out there, you know. And so we did a few more shows, and then from there it went to, well, you know, maybe we should write some more music and see what kind of interest there is for that as well.
Right.
So that's kind of how it started, you know. Everybody else has, you know, we've all got our own stuff going on too. Everybody's, you know, got other stuff they do. It's not like we were in our 20s when, you know, that's all.
Right.
That's all. But it's a little bit harder in that respect because you have to make time to do it. Right. And get everybody together, and you know, we don't all live in the same place and all that.
Right.
Although a couple of us live pretty close by. That's really what started it. And we were offered a record deal a couple of years ago, but we just couldn't quite get the negotiation. We couldn't get the fine points of the negotiation down.
Right.
And it was like we just weren't right. I think we just really weren't in the right headspace about 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And we just weren't quite in the right headspace to do it, so we wound up turning it down. And now it looks like we have another chance to do that. And because, you know, the band is back together and we're doing shows. By the way, in case you don't know, we're going to be doing the Monsters of Rock East in February.
Awesome.
We're real excited about doing that. And so yeah, that's kind of how things got going.
So is this going to be something where you guys are going to be doing, you know, festivals and you know, things like that, and then releasing the new material? And is there going to be, you know, a tour possibly involved?
You know, I doubt there's going to be a tour per se. It's going to probably be more like weekend fly-out type situations.
Right.
It's pretty. I mean, there's some bands that can get out there and tour, but touring is expensive, and
right.
It's not what it used to be. So
right.
You know, there's really not a lot of bands that can do that. There are some, but they're typically the bands that did, you know, were more commercially successful than we were back in the day. So for us, it's more like maybe a weekend, maybe 2 to 3 shows, and then fly back type of thing.
Right.
And yes, we are looking to get on some festivals. Probably, we're hoping come springtime, summer, and all that. In the meantime, we're working on some local shows right now. We should be. I think we're going to be doing a couple things in October, and we're trying to see if we can lock down the record deal right now as well. So that's
nice.
Kind of where we're at with everything. So. I don't think anything is set in stone necessarily for us. There's no guarantees in this business, right?
Right.
So I think, you know, we all want to do it enough where we're like willing to put our time and effort into it and see where it goes, and hopefully it'll go somewhere where we can get out there and, you know, bring our music to the fans, and I get hit up all the time by people who are just saying, hey, when are you going to come here? When are you going to come here?
Right.
I get it all the time, and I wish I could answer them, you know. I wish I could say, hey, man, we're going to be in your town on this and this date.
Right.
But I can't tell them that yet. So, you know, but I can tell you this, it's being worked on. We're back with our original manager, Wendy Dio.
Nice.
And which is very cool and very fortuitous. We weren't really expecting that, and it just kind of happened. And so that's another very kind of a cool, you know, feather in our cap, and we're all excited about that. And you know, we love Wendy, and so there could be some really cool possibilities with that as well. I don't want project too much or give too much away. But
Right.
you know, so basically, it's all being worked on right now.
Well, I tell you what, Chris, we're looking forward to the new material and seeing you guys out there. I mean, doing festivals and anything that you do, because it's I always thought you guys were a great band. I mean, there was always bands that were that seemed to get the huge popularity, but there was so many good bands that were better bands that just never got to the superstardom. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Rough Cutt was not a super commercially successful band. We had sort of all the trappings of it. I mean, we were very fortunate in that we toured really extensively. I mean, we were on the road for like 2 years in a row. Almost 3 really, doing major venues and stuff like that. But as far as being a very commercially successful band, we just weren't. So our following is more of sort of a cult following, and that's okay. That's okay. We'd like to see if we can maybe build on that, and of course we'd love to see if we could win over some new fans and I just want to say this, to all the people who write me and all of us, and are so express their gratitude and tell us how we changed their lives and how our music changed their lives rather, and so on. I just want to say thank you so much. I mean, it's that you can't get a better compliment than that, and it's very humbling, and it's I'm hoping that we can do that again.
I believe you will too, and really, I mean, from us, I know Brian, feels the same way. Is we always like to tell the guys that talk to, or the artists that we talk to, is thank you so much for what you do. I mean, all those years, and I look back, and like I mentioned, like Dreaming Again. You tie different life events and experiences with that, and I know when I throw that song in, I know what it is. I know it's going to blow me away just like it did 30 years ago when you wrote it. It's just as good today, and it still means the same today. And for you guys to be able to put that together and offer it to us as fans, it really does mean so much, and thank you so much for doing that, because I know that it's dedication, it's hard work. And man, it's really appreciated.
Well, it really touches me to hear you say that, man. Thank you so much.
And I really mean it. And I'm really looking forward to hearing the new material, and you have our support forever, man.
I think you'll be disappointed, actually. So if you like Dreaming, I don't think you'll be disappointed.
I think it's gonna be fantastic, man. Now, how about any last words, Chris? Anything else you want to get out to the fans? Anything that we can spread for you to get it out there and say, hey, man, let's get some Rough Cutt fans listening here.
Yeah, one thing you could do is visit our sites. It's www.roughcutt.com. Also, we're on basically every major social media platform. Just on Facebook, we're just Rough Cutt. If you just search Rough Cutt, we're right there, and we sure appreciate your likes and your comments and your reviews. We're always trying to post. In fact, we're going to be doing a contest here, and we're going to be giving away some old classic merch here in the next couple days.
Nice.
So. You guys could get out there and like us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and leave your comments and so on. We'd really appreciate that, man, and that would be amazing.
Chris, was that the T-shirts that I saw on Facebook that you had out of the warehouse?
Yeah, well, that's just one thing, man. We've got a whole bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw that box open up, all those old shirts hanging out of it.
Yeah, no, dude. I forgot of it. I was there with Wendy a couple weeks ago. We were going through the warehouse, and of course that warehouse is amazing because it's got all Ronnie's old stuff in it.
Oh man.
And it's just that I mean, you would love to go through there, right? And it's just so. I mean, there's so many things that even just looking at the boxes of rough cut stuff, it's like, holy shit! I haven't seen it in 30 years. I didn't even remember we even had that.
Right.
It's really funny that the stuff. It's like, what? Where the hell did that come from? So yeah, it's just a plethora of some really amazing stuff. So we thought one thing we could do, was to give back a little bit. Is what we do is just have a little trivia contest, ask some trivia questions, and whoever can answer the questions, man, we'll send them some classic rough cut stuff. But as I said, man, we really appreciate all your likes and comments on our site, especially our Facebook site. And if you visit our website, you can see our videos, you can see pictures, and also you can order merch. So
nice. It's good stuff too. Good stuff.
I think that's what got this started, because I ordered the poster and you checking back with me, and I'm thinking, wow, let's see if these guys want to do an interview, and that's when I touched base with you.
Right. And I'm totally glad you did, man. I'm totally glad you did.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys.
Yeah, likewise. Anytime, and let's keep in touch, and we've got some good things coming your way.
I'm looking forward to hearing some new stuff.
Yeah, we can't wait. We cannot wait. And we'll put a nice presentation together for you guys too, Chris. And if there's any pictures or anything that you want us to include in it, because we do the audio recording as it is. Some editing. I mean, there's every once in a while, like I had the dog bark a few times and things like that. So you gotta mess with that a little bit, but.
Yeah, sure. You guys want me to send you some promo stuff?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we'll get it out there. Anything that you wanna promote,
Okay.
Get the word out, to the fans. I mean, we're here to help you, man.
Yeah, I'm just like shots, live shots and studio shots and things like that.
Yeah.
We send your way, and you can do whatever you want with them.
Absolutely. We'll.
So, a lot of that's on Facebook too, but I've got my private reserve.
Yeah, like I said, we'll get it out. I'll put it together and we'll send it to you, and you give it the thumbs up. We'll get it on the website. Get it on YouTube and get the promo out for you guys, man. And I gotta say thanks so much. For taking the time to chat with us. It was fantastic.
Okay, appreciate both you guys, Brian, John. It's been a real pleasure, guys.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
All right. Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, you have a good night. Thanks a lot.